Print, email, Facebook, Twitter. More analysis. Jeff Horn ponders next move after comprehensive loss to Terence Crawford in Las Vegas. Media player, space to play, M to mute, left and right to seek, 00:4800:48. Jeff Horn's reign as the welterweight world champion is over. The title Horn won by outpointing Manny Pacquiao last July has been passed to Terence Crawford following a brutal 9th-round technical knockout victory. After the opening round, Horn barely won a moment in the fight, let alone a round. He was completely outmatched against one of boxing's otherworldly talents. Crawford broke Horn down in the early rounds and increasingly picked him apart thereafter. Horn will beat a lot of good welterweights by the time his career is over, but Crawford isn't one of them. The result is more an indication of Crawford's greatness than Horn's inability. Pacquiao win opened doors for Horn. Horn's achievement in capturing the world title last July can't be overstated. In the most entertaining title bout on Australian soil in recent memory, Horn slugged it out for 12 rounds with the legendary Pacquiao. The only travesty that afternoon would have been a wide scorecard either way. Horn shaded the decision to lift the belt from the Filipino icon. The victory immediately thrust Horn's name into the conversation to fight some of the biggest stars in boxing. Despite having little respect from hardcore fight fans, the title belts act as a pivotal promotional tool. To secure the Pacquiao fight, Horn's manager Dean Lonergan inked a 3-fight deal with famed boxing promoter Bob Arum and Top Rank Promotions. It meant Horn's following 2 fights would both be against opponents agreed to by Top Rank, and would be beamed onto American television through ESPN. The first was Englishman Gary Corcoran. Horn faced a major challenge before he even stepped in the ring. The Queenslander struggled to cut more than 4 kilos in the hours leading up to the bout, just sneaking under the 66.67 kilograms limit. The technical stoppage landed Horn in a showdown with Crawford, the mandatory challenger for his WBO strap. Horn camp rejected chance to stick with Top Rank. Horn took 3 attempts to make weight, and was granted an additional hour to ensure he didn't concede his title on the scales. Arum offered the Horn camp an extension to his Top Rank contract, but Lonergan rejected the deal. It's unlikely had Horn extended his stay in the Top Rank promotion that he would have been fed Crawford this early in his title reign. Ordinarily in boxing a fighter would consider moving up in weight in these moments. But the money for Horn is in the welterweight neighborhood. The only exception would be a major prize fight with Mexican star Canelo Alvarez at junior middleweight. Lonergan said the decision to turn down the Top Rank extension was an easy one. "We want to explore the market and we want to see what options are out there," he said. Arum remains invested in Horn regardless of the outcome today. "We would look to re-sign him whether he won or lost," he said earlier in the week. Despite loss to Crawford, options still open for Horn. Had he beaten Crawford, Horn would have been one of the most attractive prospects in world boxing. His independence allows him to cut deals with any of the top welterweights, many of whom are bound by lengthy contracts with promoters and television networks in the United States. Despite his defeat, this remains the case. He possesses an aggressive style, thus creating entertaining action fights. His promotional freedom should enable him to negotiate with a number of top welterweights. "The fact we can go on a fight-by-fight basis and build him up in the American market will be fantastic," Lonergan said. But the honest truth is this: Jeff Horn has been in the Australian media in a big way only for the last 12 months, so we've still got a lot of building to do in the Australian market. Jeff is a big star in Brisbane, a big star in Queensland, he's an okay star in Sydney and New South Wales, but we've still got a lot of work to do in Victoria. We've still got to conquer the Australian market yet, let alone the American market. Queensland Premier Anastasia Palaszczuk met with Horn and Rushton in Las Vegas on Wednesday, reinforcing the state's support and signaling its hope to host his next fight in Brisbane. Horn looking to avoid Neville nobody Mundine. Lonergan is cognizant of the need to grow Horn's profile in other Australian markets, but remains committed to his fighter's home state. "I'd love to fight Jeff Horn in Sydney, love to fight him in Melbourne, love to fight him maybe even in Tasmania and Lonergan said. But the reality is the Queensland State Government and also the Brisbane City Council have been nothing short of amazing to Jeff Horn and to my company, Duco, and you never forget the people who supported you when you needed it most. They supported us most and they'll get the first option on everything we do, simply because they were there when we needed them. Lonergan labelled the prospect of an all-Australian showdown with the ageing Anthony Mundina circus. Yes, he's a reasonably big fight in Australia, but on the world scene he's Neville nobody. If you want to crush it in the big markets, you've got to fight Sammy somebodies, not Neville's, he said. But the nature of the loss may alter that thinking. It's a big attraction domestically and would be a significant turn. A win would help rehabilitate him with the Australian public and the boxing fraternity. Horn will fight again in the calendar year, but the opponent and location are yet to be determined. The other belt holders in the division are the undefeated Keith Thurman, WBA, and Errol Spence Jr., IBF. The vacant WBC title will be contested between Danny Garcia and Sean Porter this August. The other top guys in the division include the flashy Adrian Broner, Egidijus Kavalauskas and of course, Pacquiao. A rematch with the future Hall of Famer in Australia is still high on Lonergan's wish list. Pacquiao plans to fight Argentine Lucas Mathis on his return to the ring next month. Print email Facebook.